Jake Stuart here with the National Sports Media Association. Today, I am joined by Hawaii Sportswriter of the Year, Robert Collias. Robert, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure, Jake. Yeah, I'm honored to be here.
Rob, you've been in the industry for a very long time, writing 30 years for the Maui News, I believe. Can you talk a little bit about, what brought you into the industry?
Well, to be honest, Jake, I was young guys, maybe freshman or sophomore at the University of Oregon. I was a big sports fan, and an older guy than me in my fraternity, in my Kappa Sigma fraternity at the University of Oregon, asked me if I was interested in. He was the sports editor of the Oregon Daily Emerald, which is the student daily. He asked me if I was interested in covering stuff like women's volleyball. Was one of my first assignments, and from there I became sports editor as a fifth-year senior at Oregon in 1985-86. That led me to an internship at the Eugene Register Guard, and that led me to Guam I graduated from Oregon in 1986, worked as a summer intern at the Register Guard in the summer of 86, went to Guam after working with a gentleman at the Register Guard who worked in Guam with the Stars and Stripes military newspaper. I went to Guam with the thought of, in 1987, covering Guam's very first Olympic team in Seoul, South Korea, which came to fruition. It was really cool. Guam's newspaper, the Pacific Daily News, is a Gannett newspaper. So I got to go to the Olympics, cover Guam's very small contingent, but also do some hometown stories for USA Today and Gannett, for papers that didn't have, a media badge to be at the Olympics. I was one of two guys for the PDN, the Pacific Daily News in Seoul, and it was the break, honestly, of a lifetime. I covered Carl Lewis, Ben Johnson's 100 meters, when Carl at the end of the day in the press conference said Ben wasn't human today, meaning that he was, on steroids, which proved to be the case. I covered Dan Marley, David Robinson, and the 1988, the last amateur men's basketball team, collegiate men's basketball team, before the 1992 Dream Team. They got beat by Russia, the USSR in those days. Arvydas Sabonis, whose son now plays in the NBA, used to play for my Trailblazers back in the day. But yeah, the Olympics were a great time. The Russians won that gold medal. I should finish that story. Dan Marley and the Americans won bronze that year. But while covering like our marathon guys and our sailboarders from Guam, I got a lot of really good clips as a young guy. In the 2 years I was in Guam from 87 to 89, I met my wife, Denise, who was a flight attendant then for Continental, now for United. She's still going strong. I moved to be with her in 1989 in Honolulu, worked briefly for the Honolulu Advertiser. The job here at the Maui News opened in 1990. I got it, and I've been here since.
Wow, that's an awesome story. I love just to start the beginning. I mean, you just from the Olympics and on, what a crazy, awesome story. And first of all, Rob, I as a Kappa Sigma myself, I love to hear.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I'm a Kappa Sigma here at Wake Forest. So I love to hear that. But I wanted to just say congratulations on your award first off. And what this is your first award with the National Sports Media Association. What does this one mean to you?
Man, I've had my eye, I'm not going to lie, I've had my eye on this award for a long time. I've won many SPJ type state awards for single stories, but this one covering the whole year. I'm honored to have, being on Maui in a state where there were two dailies on Oahu, the Star Bulletin and the Honolulu Advertiser. Those two eventually merged into one, but obviously 80 to 85% of the state's population live on Oahu, and it's a tough award to win. Stephen Tsai, a 7-time winner. I'm not going to lie, they changed the rules this year. You can't win it 2 years in a row. And I was a finalist a couple of years ago, but I think that rule change helped me out a lot. But I am honored to have won this award. Like I said, I've had my eye on it for a long time. To join the list of guys that are on the Hawaii list of guys for both sports writer and sportscaster, I'm truly honored. Truly honored.
And just for some perspective too, Rob is the first Maui sports writer to win this award since 2009, and just the second ever. So really, really big deal here. I want to ask you you already spoke about the Olympics a little bit, but what, aside from the Olympics, has been an event to you, or maybe a player that stood out in your coverage time so far?
Well, there's a ton, but I think maybe the story that stands out for me the most, and it happened, the actual event happened before I arrived here. I got here in August of 1990. In the fall of 1989, a plane, our league covers the islands of Molokai, Lanai, and Maui. Most everything is on Maui. Lanai and Molokai each have one school, one high school, and they travel. There was a plane crash involving the Molokai volleyball teams. It was a mixed boys and girls played in the fall, then boys now play in the spring. But there was a plane crash of a small commuter plane. All 16 or 18 folks on board were killed. And I covered basically over the years, the 1 year anniversary, the 10, 15, 20 year markings of that crash. And it's still to this day, 33 years later, affects the island of Molokai in a very, tough way. And, maybe that's the one story that's been a recurring theme for me throughout. But covering the Maui Interscholastic League has been fascinating. The travel to get to Hana, Maui, where there is a small school, is from central Maui, where the airport is about a 2.5-hour drive. It's 52 miles, but there's all kinds of 200 some, turns and single lane bridges and to get there. But from Molokai to Lanai to Hana to central Maui, the Molokai and Lanai kids come over and play games on Fridays and Saturdays. They sleep in gyms. They travel by boat and or by plane. It's fascinating, man. And it's the
Wow.
kids really want to play, man.
Wow, that's a crazy story. Something that, as a sports writer or a writer in general, those are the kind of stories that just give you goosebumps. That's quite the story, Rob. Well, the last question I wanted to ask you is, for any of our younger sports writers, anybody listening to this that's just getting into it, I know a lot has changed since you first started, but what advice could you give out for those people?
Be ready to roll with the punches. It's obviously, like you said, I work for a newspaper. I'm extremely lucky, blessed, honored to still have a job. Be ready to roll with the punches. It is obviously going towards a much more digital, much more online presence. And I do think that, with the explosion of the NFL and all the coverage that we have now and social media, I do believe that there will be jobs, but it won't be maybe like mine. Be ready to roll with the punches, man, because things are changing rapidly. I do believe that sports writing is an art that will need to go ahead, but instead of picking up the newspaper and reading it, you're going to do it on your computer screen.
Roll with the punches. I like that. I love that, actually. That's something that we can all do a little bit more and apply to ourselves. Rob, thank you so much for coming on the 2021 Hawaii Sportswriter of the Year. Thank you for your time today.
Anytime, brother. Text me and we'll talk about Kappa Sig, man.